Okay, so guys, I'll give you an example of what we're going to do with the first movement of the first set. Okay, often I've seen people thinking that this is some kind of movement to block upwards. Sometimes I've seen people, pushing downwards, and so on. There are a variety of things, and everybody learns at their own pace, and they learn with the knowledge that they have, and with their instructor teaching them specifically, or not being taught enough. And often they're at the back of the class, and they obviously don't ask questions. Okay, what you've got to do is you've got to ask as many questions as you possibly can, and you're always free to send me emails and ask me questions as well. Okay, and I'll always send you a video, and I'd love to see you attempting the set and performing the forms in whichever way you please. Okay, and then if you want my critique, I'll give it to you. Okay, and I'm always happy to receive your critique. Okay, all of us, we're not clones. All of us are different. The most important thing when you learn a form is you have a reason for it. You have a reason to do that movement. And if you don't have a reason, then why are you doing it? So I've often seen, for instance, people with the first form, when they make the first move, and they have no idea of what this could be useful for, but of course it has a use. And then they have this motion, and they have no idea what that is. So initially when they start, they're pushing it upwards as if it's some kind of block, which just isn't practical. Pushing it downwards, which completely is not practical, because you are just going to simply have your wrist broken if you attempt to block something down there, a kick or whatever. Okay, what you're actually doing is striking with the outer edge of the knife. Okay, and in doing so you're creating a rotation. I try to describe it like ABC. Okay, when people develop, it is a big A, like when you start school and you first write your big letters. When I started as a chalkboard, but that's giving something away. Okay, so basically as we push it down, okay, this is a big A, then the big B and a big C and so on. But of course as we develop our writing skill and muscle memory, our big letters become much smaller and like double writing. So it's the same principle with Kung Fu, it's the same principle with martial arts in general. Okay. And what people tend to do, though, is they will teach what they think they know, and then they will, keep on practicing it and practicing it and practice it. But for some reason, some people don't actually begin to flow. They don't begin to develop, and you'll see that in many videos where people are trying to make it look good, but they're making it look good to an audience that thinks that is how martial arts are. In reality, of course, your big motion, okay, actually is simple. It's very, very small. But the issue is you can't teach it like that. Okay, people don't learn it like that. They have to learn the big writing, the big letters, A, B, C, D, kind of thing. And then of course those letters become words. Okay, very quickly they become words, and then they become sentences, and then they become paragraphs, and then they become chapters. And so you develop your ability to respond and react. And that's how you need to learn your Kung Fu. So when we develop individual motions, we may do them in the first form in one way, but then at other points in time, in another set, they'll look completely different. Okay, they just look completely different when you're doing it in another form. Okay, so and there it is in the seventh form. So it's the same movement, as we're out and we're striking and we're blocking down, and there it is, same motion, okay, just done in a different premise. So try, if you can when you learn, to recognize that every set is the same, with the same similar techniques, obviously other techniques added, other directions added, but It's the same principle technique, but used in a different way, for a different reason, possibly in a different direction, and maybe at a slightly different depth or angle. Try to work your sets so that when you do them, you don't get confused with learning one move or one form and then trying to learn another form without first understanding the importance of that earlier form. And most people do tend to neglect the first form to try to learn the next one and don't learn from the initial one. They don't add it to that form. They don't perceive that it's the same movement. And there's lies the problem of learning. People cannot take it on board. So they learn in one set, then they want to learn the next set, then they want to learn the next set. And of course, in effect, they haven't learned anything because they left their basics behind. So, and you will see this in many videos, and we'll demonstrate a few videos, and it's of no consequence and no disrespect to the people that we're going to play, but it gives you an example of how they are not really looking at their earlier training, and where they have maybe neglected their earlier training or just simply not trained enough. So make sure you do train, because you'll get nothing if you don't train, and train hard.